we have to talk about Toshi. As you guys can see, Toshi is actually starting to increase in price. We're starting to see kind of a pump here in Toshi. So we're going to talk about what this means for Toshi. And we'll also talk about how far Toshi will get. As you can see, that's 17% right there, really 18%. So we're going to talk about this. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, but let's get straight into it. So like I was mentioning here, Toshi is increasing in price. It's looking nice, right? You can see in the last 30 days, it's up 12%. In the last 14 days, 7%. In the last 7 days, 9%. And in the last 24 hours, up 2.5%. But it's still down 69% in the last year, which means that this is one of the projects that haven't had a massive pump yet, kind of like how Zcash it just had its new massive pump. So we haven't seen projects like Toshi having those pumps, right? And we haven't seen base projects in general having those pumps right now. We see that Avantis hasn't had its pump, and it looks like it's starting to move up as well. Looks like people have already accumulated. So it does look like Avantis also wants to go up, but more so focusing on Toshi. Toshi definitely looks like it's going to have a breakout soon here. So we're going to discuss this, and this was actually a request by one of the members of the channel. So go ahead and become a member of the channel, guys, if you want to go ahead and make these requests for me to go over these specific projects for you. Go ahead and check that out. And like I was saying, with the price of Toshi here, you can see that it's been increasing recently. And we're going to cover the technicals, but right now I kind of want to look at some of the fundamentals with Toshi, because Toshi has a huge community, right? So they have a big community on Twitter, big community on all platforms actually. And the Toshi devs, unlike a lot of meme coin devs, like they're actually like posting every single day. Like they're posting multiple posts every single day. They're just putting out a bunch of memes, keeping the community engaged. And you can also see people talking inside of all of the different chats here inside of the community on Twitter. So people are still vested inside of the Toshi narrative, right? And when it comes to base, it's one of the bigger meme coins on base, right? And this guy over here says 2 days ago, we got the first signal sent Brian Armstrong's tweet that the base token is near. So if we do get a base token, they are going to push that narrative. And I think Coinbase is really building up for this. I really think Coinbase is starting to build up for this thing, because this is going to be a monumental launch. And as they start to, get some retailers in, that's when the real money starts to flow. And then now you got one of the biggest meme coins on base being Toshi, stuff like Brett, Avantis, stuff like that's going to do well. And base itself has become a huge chain. And they're just trying to build the chain before they put out the coin, because they want it to be a massive drop. So when this base coin comes out, this is going to be absolutely huge. And base is a pretty good chain. So you guys definitely need to be on base if you're not. But yeah, the CEO of Coinbase is Brian Armstrong. So he is the one kind of teasing this base coin. And yeah, he's a pretty interesting character to say the least. But anyways, Coinbase has been working with AWS. So this is huge. So this is coming from the CEO, Brian Armstrong himself. It says, now AI agents on AWS can pay for US services in USDC settled on base. That is huge. We're going to start seeing this a lot more. And if they put out the base token, we're going to be seeing it way more. Like base is literally growing inside of this base, like at a huge pace. And it's like this, like they're also dipping into gold. They're dipping into silver. They're dipping into stocks, gold and silver perps. Like now those are live on base. Like it's only a matter of time until they create their own currency and call it the base coin, right? And this is going to send up everything in the base ecosystem. And this was an interesting one. I'm not going to go ahead and cover this, but it's the CEO explaining why he's going to be firing 14% of his staff. And he actually recently said that. He said it May 5th. So last week, he announced that he was cutting 14% of his staff. And he mentioned why on Twitter, which I thought, I mean, that's honesty, right? He's being honest on why he's doing it. So he's doing it for the better good. So for all the people that are affected, I mean, I guess it sucks for them. But yeah, that is crazy. I just thought that was crazy. That's why I wanted to mention it. Like, You don't usually see that inside of CEOs inside of the crypto space. But anyways, moving on from that, just kind of talking about some of the sentiment from the user sentiment about not base but about Toshi, because a lot of people are still hell bent on Toshi going up to like 20 billion, right? This guy said people say a meme like Toshi hitting 20 billion is not realistic, but what is realistic in crypto? And then he starts to go on and on and on talking about Doge, talking about you know, NFTs and stuff like that, and how they just went to like huge numbers, saying, Toshi could be a 20 billion. So you got a lot of people that are still also stuck in this narrative of Toshi being like a $10 billion coin and all that. And then he's given his whole thesis on it, saying Coinbase onboards retail, retail discovers base, base memes get attention. Toshi is in it running to become the top meme on base. And if Toshi runs hard, Toshimart beta plays, and then, just looking into the whole ecosystem. So I think this is a pretty good point of view. And there's a lot of people that have this point of view inside of Toshi. I mean, this guy has a lot of people from Toshi following him. And I think a lot of people agree with that. And you remember, Kobe the cat, like this is a little this is one of the things on Toshimart. Toshimart is their launch pad. And you have all these different projects that were created under the Toshimart launch pad. So now you have other projects that are, pushing for Toshi to win as well. So this is, something that is huge, right? This can be huge. I think Toshi can be huge. It's just going to be a matter of time. And not to mention, like, it does look like it's starting to cook up for a pump, which we'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, again, I think that the narrative for Toshi is bullish long term, but we are in a bear market. So remember that, remember that, remember that. All right. So let's get straight to it and let's talk about the technicals here. So as you can see, we are seeing a push up here on Toshi, and we've actually pushed above the 50-day simple moving average, which is that red line right there. The 50-day simple moving average, we're now above that. So now what we are going to be waiting for, we are looking for this resistance at that 200 day. So that is the 200-day moving average all the way up there at the top, right near that resistance line. And by the time it gets there, we'll probably be closer to this resistance up here. Now you're probably asking, what makes this resistance, right? What makes 0.00029 resistance? Well, if you kind of zoom in, you can see that this area has been, very monumental multiple times on Toshi. It's not like an absolute area, but it is a good area of support that we've seen multiple times. So we would want to pay attention to that. And it's kind of obvious why we're getting rejected right now, because if you look here, this is actually a support area. Support becomes resistance. And then when you kind of scroll all the way to the side over here just to look at that, you can see what? Resistance right there. And like I said, support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support. You can see resistance here and that 50-day moving average. So everything is pretty much in confluence. Everything is literally, they're all networking together, right? That's kind of how I see the charts right now. All the charts, all the different patterns are networking with each other. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. And things are shifting to a bullish pattern, right? We had this right here. We had a bearish pennant. And bearish pennants are bearish. Obviously, they're bearish, right? Bearish pennants pretty much go down. And if you enter a symmetrical triangle from a downtrend, it becomes a bearish symmetrical triangle, aka a bearish pennant. So that's why we seen that pretty much pulling back and dumping like that on Toshi. So that's one of the things that we can watch out for here. But if we pass this resistance at 0.0002, then we can finally make it up here to that 200-day moving average, and it'll be around 0.00029. So that is exactly what we're looking out here for Toshi. Also, there's another level here that I forgot to mark. And as you can see here, we had support there all the way back in the launch of Toshi March of 2025, 0.00027. That is one level over there. And then you can also see we hit that level again right here of January 1st, 2026. And that was 0.00027 as well. And then we've seen the resistance a little bit here as well. So that is also another level for us to watch out for here on Toshi. So we should be taking out some of these highs up here. So we should see Toshi passing 0.00027 possibly. That would be a 33% increase from where we are now. The next resistance at 2.9 is then a 45% gain, right? So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then we'll be hitting the 200-day moving average. And if Bitcoin continues to dump, then we'll probably see everything dump because Bitcoin is doing the same thing. Bitcoin is racing right now, so it's a 200-day moving average. It's kind of looking like it's getting rejected. So if Bitcoin does get rejected and dumps, then it's likely we'll see Toshi dump as well. But we've already seen some altcoins break away from Bitcoin's hold. So even if Bitcoin gets rejected right here at its 200-day moving average, it doesn't necessarily mean Toshi can't run because the altcoin market is kind of moving different than Bitcoin right now. It's moving a little bit different. Like we're seeing a lot of different altcoins just taking off out of nowhere. We've seen what happened with Zcash. We've seen what happened with Pudgy Penguins. We've seen what happened with a lot of these different altcoins. And I think that Toshi might have, a breakout coming here soon, right? This is like sideways movement right here. This is like accumulation phase. And now we're starting to see it increase. If it passes resistance, it's only up from there. So it's a little bit of a gain. I'm not saying it's a huge gain. I think Toshi will have a better time going into 2027 because that's when we should be having the next bull market. But this could be, a temporary relief rally for people, right? A temporary relief rally where you can just try to make back like 40% of what you lost, right? Like make back 40% of what you already lost earlier. So that's kind of how I see this. But I don't see that push lasting for too long unless we start to get the other stuff rolling in, like the base token. We start to see base coins just breaking out from, behind the woodworks, right? Everything is literally pumping, but base coins, they're kind of quiet right now. I think base coins are going to have like almost like their own season. And if that happens, the next Fibonacci area is going to be at 0.0007 per Toshi. So Toshi is pretty much bottomed out. And what I'm pretty much saying is if Toshi takes off and hits this resistance up here, that's 255% gain, just getting to 0.0007. So if everything starts going well for our base coins, the base case scenario, Toshi is definitely going crazy. All right. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys with this. And also, I guess we can talk a little bit about the percent R trend exhaustion before we close this video out. And before we continue to go, though, shameless plug. Check out the link in the description for Avantis, best DeFi perps trading platform out there, up to 500x leverage. You can get discounts on your trading fees if you check out the link in the description. And they even have a zero fee perps if you want to trade like that. It has its own risk applied to it. But go ahead and check out Avantis, link in the description. Let's get back into Toshi though. Like I was saying with the percent R trend exhaustion, the white line is the short-term trend, and we've seen that the short-term trend is breaking far past the long-term trend, right? So the long-term trend is this blue line right here. And I always talk about this because once you see that short-term trend pulling back and the long-term trend not following it, you just see a massive crash in the price. Toshi is at a point where the long-term trend is following it, but it is lagging behind it, which means once this white line gets all the way up to this overbought area, you might see like a sort of a pullback, kind of like how I did here, and then a continuation, and you'll see this continuing to pump, and then you'll see the dump after that. So that's why I was saying like maybe we do 40% and then we start to shake people out again, and it bottoms out again after it does like a 40% pump, and then they start to shake people out, use them as exit liquidity, and then it takes off, right? So that's why I'm like, all right, I know this is a relief rally. It's a temporary pump, maybe 40% for Toshi. A bunch of other coins are going to pump as well. Maybe you can make some money off of it. By the end of the year, I do believe we will start this bull run by the end of the year and by the beginning of next year. That is where I'm standing with it. But yeah, this is pretty much all I got for you guys today, though. Hit the like button, subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Go ahead and become a member of the channel. This was requested by a member. Guys, it's only $10 a month, and you guys can request for me to go over any crypto project as long as it's not a low cap scam coin. So go ahead and do that. And yeah, check out Avantis, link in the description for that. As always, I'll be back with another video.